I think that top of the agenda now is the need for more housing. It's been kind of on the agenda for a few years, never at the top. And the Lines review in October last year set out for us the route towards building at least 200,000 houses every year. It's a big problem in London, but it's a big problem around the country. That brings into it a whole series of issues around land ownership, the green belt, all of that, many of which will be rehearsed here this evening. But house building has to be a priority, and I think there's a political consensus on that. My own view for the property industry and anyone else is that uncertainty is what we have to avoid. Uncertainty could come two ways. I mean, I would say that the in-out referendum on the European Union just creates the kind of uncertainty that our economy could do without. But I think there's also the prospect of uncertainty about who is going to form the government. I mean, the coalition was dealt with very quickly last time. If there's a hung parliament this time, I'd like to see it work as quickly and swiftly as that, because we don't want that to drag on for weeks and months, because that damages confidence, damages stability and damages the economy. Well, if they're against it, they're against it. All I can say is mansion tax is very popular in the part of the world I come from. I can understand it's a bit different in London. That's where most of these properties are. But we get back a very small amount in terms of tax on these big properties compared to cities around the world. Everybody, even the people who don't particularly agree with a mansion tax and think there should be a different banding in council tax, accept that these properties that this issue needs to be addressed. Nobody else is putting forward many proposals as to how we've got £7 billion of unfunded tax cuts from the Conservatives. Fiscal deficit is still £90 billion, the one that was supposed to be eradicated last year. Where's the other ideas coming from? And as far as the issue about rent controls are concerned, more and more people, this is an issue for many people now, many more than was the case before, because of the issue about housing. More people are renting, and there has to be fair controls over that. So the proposals we're saying is not that it's a very tightly regulated market, but just trying to iron out some of these issues that people are raising with us as a real issue for people in rented property. And I think the people who are the owners of those properties have as much to gain by making that market fair and equitable as the people who rent the properties. There has to be changes. There's a big issue around this election, which is about greater equality. It's an issue raised by the International Monetary Fund, amongst many others. It's an issue that's a global issue about people not feeling that they're being treated fairly. That permeates into all kinds of areas. And I think people understand that the status quo is not sustainable, whether that's in terms of financial services, whether that's in terms of the lack of housing, whether that's in terms of people finding it almost impossible, their first-time buyers, to get on the housing ladder. These issues have to be resolved, and they have to be resolved as amicably as possible, with as little dissent as possible and with as much consensus as possible.